Rich people of Reddit that were poor before. How did money solve your problems and what new problems have appeared? Went through childhood in the foster system and fell through the cracks. Ended up homeless a few times. Anyways, I'm not a 1%er, but I do make more than 80% of Americans, yearly salary wise. Money relieved me of stress. When I go shopping I don't check my bank account before I make a purchase. I have insurance, so I'm not afraid to go to the dentist or doctor. Going out with friends is fun because I know I won't be financially struggling from a night out. It ultimately brought me a level of stability I never was used to, and I'm incredibly grateful. My new problems I wouldn't call problems: home maintenance, car upkeep, bills, etc. I'm grateful those are my main worries these days. My dad's homeless, and my mom is broke. I'm a millionaire. I grew up in a crappy neighborhood. Here's some stuff I've noticed. Once you have some money in the bank, you can take risks, and this helps you put more money in the bank. For instance, when I was 29, I had an opportunity to take a job 1200 miles away. If I didn't have some money in the bank, I would have been scared to make that leap. I took it, and I don't think I'd be wealthy in 2019 if I hadn't. I can't remember the last time I had to think about money. It's just there. In my early 20s, I remember just being flat out terrified about how I would pay my bills. I've kinda lost interest in stuff. For instance, when I was in my 20s, I had a nice car, but now I have a shitbox that I barely drive. Basically I don't bother to buy a nice car because I'd rather put that money away and retire a little bit sooner. As a millionaire, I now spend less on restaurants and cars than I did when I was 25 years old, making $25,000 a year. The downside of being wealthy is that whole Walter White thing. Basically you get to a point where you feel like you might as well keep working because there's always someone who will pay you well. One of my fears is that I'll drop dead without ever getting a chance to retire because I kept working longer than necessary. Not rich currently, but due to my work skills I have been both flush with cash and scraping by. This position changes every so often. When I had excess, frickin' level of money, my immediate needs were taken care of, so I could focus on other things / take on new projects. People don't realize that when you don't have to worry about food for the next month or months, basic household bills for the next month or months, fuel for the car, you are so free to spend your energy on other projects and learn new things. For me, the issue is that having that much disposable income is the temptation to spend it. Lifestyle creep and keeping up with the Jones will destroy people if the cash flow ever gets interrupted. Without that cash flow you can't afford your mortgage or your new car. I avoided it, luckily. Many others have not. I bought a small house and a nice 15-year-old truck when I had the money, and then I stopped. I put my money in the bank / invested it. My monthly stay alive cost is under 1k. When the good times end, I still keep the lights on working a low-paying job. Grew of middle class until 12 years old. Then mom had a stroke and parents lost family business and was essentially piss poor broke. I think parents sheltered my brothers and I from it a lot. Always had something to eat, but always moving around different homes. Christmas presents consisted of socks, underwear and candy bars. It sucked during high school. I was jealous. Went to college, got a job, and so did my brothers. My brothers started doing well and started supporting our parents. I ended up going to med school, getting through residency, still paying off massive loans, but now in a place where I don't have to worry about my car breaking down. I can go to Whole Foods. I can buy friends and family dinner without thinking about it. I can pay for my parents' dental work without thinking too much about it. I can invest in stocks, invest in a good home, maintain the home and my cars and even make money on my house by investing correctly. The biggest difference is that now I can make financial decisions that on their own make money for me with real estate and with investing. And the ratio of this easy capital gains money only gets better every year. When you are poor you own nothing and the only way of making money is to work. But if your paycheck can't support your lifestyle it is very difficult to break cycle. Not rich by 1% standards. Never been poor. I always had a support system, even if I had no money myself. That being said, the number one thing I noticed is holidays aren't as stressful because money isn't an issue. Shopping for presents is relatively easy because I'm limited by creativity, not weighing how ashamed am I going to be to give this crappy gift to someone vs how much do I want to eat this week. The main problems come from being in that place where enough is never enough. As long as I watch my spending, I can mostly buy the occasional thing I want, but I don't have enough that I can buy whatever. It's also a dilemma when it comes to helping out my friends. I don't have enough that I can afford to solve or really significantly impact my friends' financial problems, while at the same time I want to be generous/helpful when I can. On the gripping hand, it becomes easy to be taken for granted or even worse, taken advantage of. Springing for the occasional meal can easily become being expected to pay for restaurants that are more expensive than I want to be going to in the first place. You want to nip that shit in the bud real quick. But I have a lot of friends who are literally looking through couch cushions for gas money. At the same time, if I gave them gas money all the time, I wouldn't be able to pay my own bills. So it sucks to sit there and have to figure out when I can actually help vs when I'm lighting myself on fire to keep someone else warm. My biggest difference is, now that I can wait till something is in sale and cheap, instead of need to replace it when it broke. It allows me to get better quality for the same amount of money. For example, laundry machine is -50% during sales. So I can buy the quality of a $1,000 instead of a low end of the market for $500. Went from extremely lower middle class, where I didn't carry insurance because I couldn't afford it and could never pay all my bill in any given month, to 1%er. The biggest difference is bar none the loss of that fear and shame. My wife is an incredibly sympathetic person, but she came from money and doesn't understand the feeling. The stress, shame, and sleeplessness that comes from not having money just can't be explained unless you've lived them. Not having that feeling, just knowing I can buy what I want, within reason, don't confuse the 1% with the 0.01%, is one of the greatest changes in my life. Having come from almost nothing to where I'm at now, there are no problems. The problems I face now are totally first world problems, because money. The biggest thing it solves is that you no longer have to worry about things. $2,000 car repair? No big deal. Put it on your credit card to save 2% with cash back, and the bill is auto paid in full on the due date anyways. Your life is much less stressful when these things randomly pop up, and you don't have to worry about where you'll get the money to cover them. The problem I've been thinking about lately is why I want to keep increasing my salary. I'm on the fence about getting an MBA so that I can move into a senior level management position, CTO/SEA. It's not like I need more money. We already live on less than 30% of my salary, so why do I need to earn 800k, 1 meter, or even like a 20 meters salary? It seems so wasteful. I like my $250k house just fine. I like my current vehicle and motorcycle. What else do I possibly need? But yet I feel like everyone around me is like, why? So yeah, I'd say that. I feel like I'm supposed to want to move into those positions, and when I ask people why I should want to move into that position, the answer is always, because you'll earn way more money. And it's like, I earn $180-230k/year right now, and we live on less than $70k/year. So why in the world would I need even more? I could retire on my current path at 43 years of age with over $4 million. Why do I need more money than that? I'm not super rich, but definitely doing okay, and really there aren't downsides. Maybe a bit of guilt that I have some extended family members who are always living paycheck to paycheck, but they are just bad with money and would spend it like NBA players. If I helped them IMHO, they all smoke like chimneys and drink like fish. The ones that have a bit more in their paychecks have big trucks/SUVs, etc. I do contribute to college funds for their kids. Sometimes I feel a bit out of touch. I had an AC unit blow 2 years ago. It was a few grand. I had a friend over and just mentioned it, and she was like, oh man, that must have been a big setback, and I just kind of shrugged it off. Not really. I knew it was struggling for a good year and a half. I was happy to get as much time out of it as I did, and the newer one was much quieter. I immediately regretted saying that as she looked at me like I was crazy. We lived way below our means for many years. We had a smallish condo that worked well enough for us, but we finally found our forever home this fall, which is much larger and nicer, and kind of shocked some people. We didn't tell people what we paid, but still kind of outed ourselves a bit, so we will see how that changes people's perceptions. It's so much bigger not to take on. We will be okay, but things could get stressful if I lose my job or before some other catastrophic thing in the next 6 months to a year.